He's back after being tortured at the dentist. He is here and he can speak. And obviously, so can I. And we're going to cover everything that's going on weather wise tonight. And it is kind of busy on the weather maps. Here we go. It's the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. If you shop on Amazon, use our referral link at the top of the chat board or on the description to this podcast. Because if you do, we can do the live stream without any commercial interruption. And sometimes we go as much as an hour or so without any commercial interruption. It's very easy. Just search and shop, and Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. And it doesn't cost you 1 cent out of your own pocket. We appreciate very much those of you who have used the referral link and shopped on Amazon. So, how bad was it? 1 minute. Hold on. I don't know what happened this afternoon. Hold on a second. Uh, okay, where are you? Try.
Hello.
Now we can hear you. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Actually, that's what you sounded like last night, was that we couldn't hear a thing anyway. So,
Well, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by silence. If you are of a certain age, you may remember the Jackie Gleason show, not the Honeymooners, but Jackie Gleason had a variety show in the early 1960s, and he used to finish each show with another character. He would play Joe the bartender, and Jackie Gleason was Joe the bartender. But he had a singer with a deep baritone voice, Frank Fontaine. But Frank Fontaine would come out and he would portray a character by the name of Crazy Guggenheim. And I'm not even going to attempt to uh, imitate what Crazy sounded like. But last night, I probably would have done a very good impression of Crazy because my entire right side of my face was all numbed up. I had 2 crowns put in last night at the dentist. And actually, what I have in my mouth right now is a temporary crown or crowns. I have to go back in a couple of weeks and get the permanent crown put in. But Joe, he shot me up with so much Novocaine, and my whole right side was numb. I probably would sound something like this. So
right.
there was no use of my coming on last night because I just couldn't talk last night because I was all shot up with the numb stuff. So
I get it.
anyway,
I get it. Yeah, no, it's I know a lot of people don't like going to the dentist. I rarely have a problem going to the dentist. Cleanings don't bother me. Um, I actually, when they, when I've had deep cleans done from time to time, where they do it all by hand, and for some reason, to me, pressure that they use, the pressure on your gums, to me, it feels really good. So I'm sort of an oddball when it comes to this sort of thing. Anyhow, you've got some very nice weather to start off the month of June, and certainly considering how the weather was through much of the month of May, I'm imagining that not many people are used to this.
yeah, it was decent today. I mean, it was hazy. I guess in part because of high altitude smoke. Although, from what I saw, the smoke really was not all that thick
Right.
here, as opposed to, let's say, out in the Midwest, where and the air quality was not due to the smoke. We were at marginal or moderate levels today, but that was more because of the ozone produced by smog and local industrial pollutants, as opposed to the airborne smoke. But out in the Midwest, in places like Wisconsin and the lower peninsula of Michigan, Minnesota, they had readings. We had a reading of like 40 or 50 on the air quality index here, which again was teetering right near moderate. But meanwhile, they had like 300 or so in those places out in the Midwest because of all of the Canadian wildfire smoke. So um,
Yeah,
it's not great, but I mean it turned out to be a decent day, around 80 or near 80 degrees this afternoon, hazy skies, and the humidity was not at all intolerable. So it was a decent day all around.
yeah. I mean, here, because we've had the same problem here too. Today was much better. The sky was about as blue as it's been over the last couple of days. I put up the satellite loop because you could see the that milky white, but there's a low that is out well southeast of Cape Cod with very broad upper air circulation. Must be some kind of cutoff low that's out there. So, it's bringing, or at least you can see there's a plume going north to south that is still over you. It's not too bad. It's not bad at all across uh, the deep south and from Virginia down into North Carolina. It's a little milky when you get back to Mississippi and Alabama, but again, not as bad as what it was. But and with what's coming up for the next couple of days, uh, we've got a long way to go before we get into any of the moisture that you see that's out in the Midwest, down to the Southern Plains. That's not going to get here. That's not going to get to the east at all, really.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat board. I'm just looking at the chat board. I'm sorry, I should be thinking weather right now and be on weather, but there are several people on the chat board who are saying that I guess they feel I'm telling a fib, that I was shot with Novocaine yesterday.
Why would
I
they
wonder,
think that you're making that up?
I don't understand this. So what else could it have possibly have been if it were not Novocaine? Tom Contino's telling Christianpedia, well, he continues to say he got Novocaine. Well, Tom, let me ask a
Well, what's the
question.
option?
What
What
do you think?
else? What was
What
he
do you think?
supposed to
What
get?
do you think I got then, Tom? Doctor Contino. What are you making an allusion to here? It's amazing. And Bobby Livingsworth says, well, I don't think it was Novocaine. Well, what could else could it be?
What else could it have been? Lidocaine, Christina
I mean,
Pedia says.
they put in,
Oh, who
and they had a lot
cares?
of drilling. I mean, like they drilled like crazy to set up the, to put the two crowns in. So what else could they have possibly have used? There was Novocaine.
Yeah, all right. Maybe now they use lidocaine. Okay, but we know it is Novocaine. I get it. So, I guess maybe it's an age thing. Oh, please. Of all the things to get worked up over. Anyway,
All right. So
uh,
okay, Novocaine hasn't been used since the 80s. All right.
who
So
cares?
I'm sorry if I'm still living in the past here. I mean, that's they injected me with some stuff that caused my right side of my face to swell up and deaden the pain. So if it wasn't Novocaine, it was lidocaine. If it wasn't lidocaine, it was some kind of candy cane or something. I don't know.
Ah, here you go. There you go. It was a candy cane. Exactly.
All right.
All right. Welcome to everybody on the chat board. Lidocaine, Novocaine, or whatever else you want to go with. Welcome tonight to the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And those of you who are watching in the background, wondering why we're getting into an argument over this, we're saying we're glad you're here. And subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, hit the like button. Although I'll settle if you just stay. Okay. Uh, Frank Scalera says he knows what you're talking about. To have it to me about three in my face sometimes felt like a balloon. See, there are people that support you, Joe.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, let's go to the we got the watches and warnings map up, and yeah, we do have some air quality alerts there in southeastern Pennsylvania and over parts of northern New Jersey, Long Island, the Hudson Valley, and Connecticut. Also in parts, almost the whole state of Iowa, Wisconsin, much of Minnesota. And in the mix of all of that, there are severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches that are in play from Wisconsin south through western Illinois, eastern Iowa, through Missouri, eastern Kansas, much of eastern Oklahoma, and down into north central Texas. Also, we have a lot of counties in northwest Arizona, southern Nevada, and in southern California, all under flash flood watches. So they're still dealing with some moisture there. And we have also, I can't see if that's gray down in South Florida. Is that air quality alerts in South Florida? No, that's just green. It's just my own eyes. Those are flood watches that are up for the counties in South Florida because they have been dealing with quite a bit of rain from a non-tropical system that is down there. And if we go back now to the satellite loop, we can see the said non-tropical system with lots of clouds in Florida and some showers and thunderstorms that have been coming in from off the Gulf and forming overland. We also have got there's a pretty decent looking squall line there going through northern Missouri, Joe. There's a lot of lightning strikes, and then there's another line in southeast Kansas that cuts down through Oklahoma into northernmost Texas, and that is all moving east. But all those clouds there, all that moisture is running north northeast up toward Lake Superior and on up into Canada. That weather front is not going to be pushing eastward, so you've got another another couple of days where you're going to see sunshine and warm temperatures in the 80s.
Yeah, it looks like from our vantage point here that tomorrow will be another dry, very warm day coming up. And then on Thursday, as the front gets nearer to us, I noticed that, and we haven't put it up yet, but not specifically for the New York metropolitan area or Long Island, and for much of northern Jersey, except maybe the northwest part of New Jersey, uh, thunderstorms a possibility. And in fact, not too far, a stone's throw away to the north, they have a swath of marginal risk for severe weather on Thursday, probably late Thursday and Thursday night across upstate New York, much of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And that again is due to the approach of a weather front. But Joe, it looks like that front is going to be taking its sweet time and coming on in and moving through. So we may still be dealing with a risk of convection on Friday and maybe into Saturday, and finally, I think Sunday into early next week we'll see the humidities begin to drop again, and a better chance of drier and cooler weather moving in. But
Yeah.
next couple of days really going to remind you of summer, and especially so with the increase in humidity and the fact that it may feel rather muggy out there.
Yeah, that weather front for Thursday is going to kind of get stuck somewhere just south of I-90. So I don't think you're going to see, you're not going to see any thunderstorms down, further south. It's all going to be upstate New York and just, Vermont, Hampshire, and Maine, which is where SPC is doing its deal. And we'll take a look at that in a moment. But then we have a second front that's going to come through. And also, part of the issue is this thing off of Florida. A low is going to probably form off the southeast coast and kind of edge northward for at least a little while. But what that's going to do, I think, is going to slow that front down Friday night to where it just kind of parks itself right along the coast on Saturday. And that might mean not that it rains, not that you get showers and thunderstorms all day long, but there are probably going to be some showers and storms on Saturday with that second frontal boundary that comes along and then kind of stalls out for a little while. And then once the low gets going, the front will be able to pass, and then we'll have hopefully better weather conditions on Sunday.
Yeah, I think a cold front is going to come through here probably sometime late Saturday or Saturday evening and kind of push everything out to sea. In advance of that cold front, however, Joe, as you just alluded to, showers and scattered thunderstorms are certainly a distinct possibility, but that front will also help to sweep out that coastal system that you just alluded to. And by the time we get to Sunday, weak high pressure will be building in. So on Sunday, I think the day will be getting better as time wears on. But maybe a cloudy start, maybe a leftover shower by midday and afternoon on Sunday, things will get better. It looks like drier air, less humid air moving in, along with clearer skies and some developing sunshine.
Now some of that moisture that is with off of, over Florida is actually going to migrate northward into Georgia and South Carolina during the overnight and during the day tomorrow. So there'll probably be some rain that will push northward. Kind of looking forward to it in a way, because my garden is in I gave it a good soaking today. And when the sun comes out, things dry up around here pretty quickly. So I'm kind of happy about the fact that we're going to get into some of that rain. And here's what's going on in Florida right now. You can see it's not raining everywhere in the state, but we do have patchy areas of showers and some heavier downpours that are off the coast of Southwest Florida and over the Keys that are moving northeastward and northward. So a lot of this is going to move further north as we go through the day. Meanwhile, a busy night tonight in severe weather land because we have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings in northeast Missouri. There's a couple of tornado warnings in play there on the Iowa North Carolina state line. There's two tornado warnings boxes. And then further south in East Kansas, we've got half a dozen boxes of flash flood warnings, and then go a little bit further south into Oklahoma and in north central Texas, and you got a whole bunch of severe thunderstorm and a few tornado warnings there. So very busy radar in the middle of the country, and then we head to the southwest where we have also a number of flash flood warnings up in parts of Southern California. Looks like it's raining pretty hard in Los Angeles right now, and also in some areas in the interior, maybe around Palm Springs. And looks like it might be a heavy thunderstorm just north of Las Vegas, judging by this radar. A little severe thunderstorm warning box pops up there, and northern Arizona and northwest New Mexico, actually northern New Mexico, we're seeing patchy areas of showers and thunderstorms there as well. The Storm Prediction Center. We've got, let's see, what do we got? One, two, three, four severe thunderstorm warning watches. I'm sorry, four severe thunderstorm watches up, and one, and possibly what's left of another tornado watch up in eastern Oklahoma. As you can already see, there's been a number of storm reports so far. One tornado, 65 reports of wind, and 13 reports of hail for a total of 79 so far. And that is in a rather large area of slight risk from central Texas northeastward into western Illinois and southeastern Iowa. The tornado risk is 2%, except for an area of 5% in northern Missouri, western Illinois, and into southeastern Iowa. Now, tomorrow, SPC's got two marginal risk areas. One, eastern Michigan, northwest Ohio to Indiana and southern Illinois. The other in West Texas, New Mexico, and southern Colorado. But notice nothing in the Mid-Atlantic or in the Northeast. And then on day three, as Joe pointed out, a marginal risk for upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Uh, I guess if you want to keep it simple, it's probably somewhere between 84 and 90. Looks like the general thunderstorm line is about at 84, and the marginal risk is closer to I-90. And the other area is in Texas, northwest Texas, Oklahoma, and southern Kansas, where we have a slight risk being indicated. And we've got two areas in the long range in day 4, which is Friday into Saturday, an east-west band of slight risk, Oklahoma to Arkansas to Tennessee and Kentucky and northern Mississippi. And then we kind of have a repeat performance on day 5, which is Saturday and Sunday. So the first one's Friday and Saturday. This one's Saturday and Sunday. The Saturday and the Sunday one's a little further south: Oklahoma, Arkansas, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and extreme northern Texas. So SPC is going to be very, very busy. And as far as the rain is concerned, big rains in Oklahoma to Missouri, an additional on top of what's already fallen, starting at 8 o'clock tonight and going for the next 7 days. We're looking at areas of 3 to 5 inches or more. Also in the southeast, you're seeing along the coast up to a few inches of rain there. Kind of tails off a bit in Florida, but it's been going on there for a couple of days. In the Northeast, it's a half to three quarters, with areas of an inch and a half in western Pennsylvania and upstate New York and southern Vermont and New Hampshire. West is pretty quiet. Uh, Nothing, unlike May. I don't know how May finished up rainfall wise for you. It had to be above average.
I would think so. Yeah, I would say that. And the month of May we had what at Central Park? I think that 6 inches of rain fell,
Yeah.
and so I mean, we deserve a spell of dry weather now after all we went through in May. And again, if we do a lot of that, precipitation for the Northeast, I think is pretty much hinging on the performance and future movements of that front that we just spoke of that'll be moving across the Northeast during the Friday through Saturday period. That's probably where we're going to be seeing most of that precipitation is from that frontal passage. And then things should dry out again for, again, the latter part of the weekend and into the start of next week.
So we look at the upper air. By the way, let's check the Hurricane Center because they did mention yesterday a whopping 10% chance of development, and there it is. It's still there, still a 10% chance. Pretty much saying the same. Non-tropical area of low A non-tropical low-pressure area is forecast to form from this system near or offshore the southeast coast next couple of days. If the low remains offshore, it could gradually develop some subtropical or tropical characteristics later this week while it moves northeast at 10 to 15, 10 to 10% chance. And on the Pacific side, since I have it up, we've got an area of low pressure forecast to form off the southern coast of Mexico late this week. Conditions are conducive for gradual development. Tropical depression will likely form over the weekend as it moves west to west northwest at about 10 miles an hour and a 70% chance of that. So if something does form there, it just goes out straight into the open waters of the Pacific and goodbye. Just looking at the upper air, uh, look at this, just this trough this weekend actually was pretty remarkable in the eastern part of the United States. I mean, it's not often that you see the jet stream with westerly winds all south of the Keys and into the Bahamas as at the bottom of the trough. That pulls is still in the process of pulling out. In fact, a low cut off south of Cape Cod this morning, and that's probably the reason why we're still seeing some of that smoke, as you saw in the satellite loop. But once that gets a little bit further to the east, now we get into some ridging, and the winds in the aloft are going to be southwest across the Great Lakes and western New York and in the Ohio Valley on up into eastern Canada. So that should deflect any additional smoke to just run up well to the northeast and not be a problem for tomorrow and for Thursday, or should be less of a problem. There might be some leftover stuff hanging around, but no new stuff. And as we go into Friday, flow kind of flattens. There's a little troughing there right along the Carolinas, that little white spot that you see. That's reflecting that southern system. And eventually, as the northern jet comes down, it'll force it out. But it may take a push. There's a short wave that's coming through late on Saturday, so that'll finally push the front down. And then you got another one of these cutoff lows that dives down into the Great Lakes, but it's not like the one we just saw this past week, this weekend. This drops down, gets to the northern lakes, and then lifts right up. So uh, there's not going to be any kind of, we'll be a little cooler, but we won't be a lot cooler for a day or two. And then after that, we're kind of sort of in this flattish ridge. It's not, not anything to write home about. Weak short waves in the flow moving along it from time to time. It's kind of a ho hum early to mid June type pattern. There's nothing, doesn't seem to me like there's anything really too unusual with all of this.
So yeah, that's you. I love your description of ho hum because that really is exactly what June is all about. Is ho hum, uh, warm, humid, several days or more of just you know haze and humidity sometimes and sunshine, but And we could use, as I said, after the rather wet month of May, we could use several days of dry weather to just dry things out here in the Northeast and here in the immediate New York City metropolitan area. So, but that is rather unusual to see an upper level, a cutoff low with the upper level winds going northwest all the way down to the Florida Peninsula. That don't happen too often in the month of June.
No. So you see on the surface, as I mentioned, you can see the rain from Florida moves up into Georgia and South Carolina during the day tomorrow. The front in the from the plains to the Midwest pushes eastward, but the height of the that's offshore is pretty strong. So the front just kind of slows down. We get into Thursday, it lines up in upstate New York, northern Vermont, and New Hampshire. That's where you see, and maybe back down into some of the mountains in northern Pennsylvania. That's where you see the showers and storms. Meanwhile, there's the what's was the Florida system, a little low that forms there in eastern North Carolina, and this kind of hangs out just offshore Friday night into Saturday. And you got this frontal boundary that comes along. So you see where it finally reaches the coast, and you have some showers and storms from Maine down through Virginia, Kentucky, western North Carolina, northern Georgia, back through Mississippi and Alabama. I kind of hope it doesn't rain here Saturday morning because I'm taking the kids fishing, and my son-in-law too. But once that pulls out, it does look like it'll be a little better on Sunday. Although the Europeans actually spitting up a few showers Sunday afternoon. It's not the strongest push of dry air in the world. And then Tuesday, you got another arm there with that low dropping down into the Great Lakes. And there's some showers and thunderstorms that develop late Monday afternoon into Monday night. And even down in parts of the southeast, it kind of lingers just offshore, and it gets better for Tuesday and Wednesday. But again, there's no real cool air behind these fronts. That all gets pulled up into Canada. So as Joe pointed out, it's just going to be this sort of warmish, humid pattern going forward. The European doesn't have any kind of tropical system in the coming out of the Caribbean, at least from what we can see. We'll take a look at the GFS because Joe has been spinning up minimal hurricanes for the last number of days. So why not have a laugh and see if it did it again? And no, on this run, it looks like something. There it is. Right. Joe, the GFS never disappoints. It never disappoints. It's got to put like these zombie hurricanes. And here's another one at 324 hours now that moves over western Cuba and then heads off now into the Florida Panhandle somewhere, and then just with the rain getting up to about me. Put it in the bank, folks. Put it,
Yeah,
write it down.
I
I mean,
don't.
it's just ridiculous how every run it does. Is this the kind of hurricane season we're going to have now, where that silly model is just going to spin up everything, at least once a day, spin up something in the long range. It's just ridiculous.
They should chop everything off at 84 hours. That's why I like the NAM goes to 84 hours and then that's it. And I think maybe that's what the global model should do, because you've got young people coming out of the colleges who are aspiring forecasters, and they look at some of these models, the Canadian that goes out to 240 hours, the European model, the AI model from the European goes out 360. You got
Right.
the 384-hour model from the GFS. And the basic way you should look at these is that anything beyond, let's say, 5 or 6 days, if it says like a major hurricane, 8 or 10 days from now, just toss it in the circular file because it's not likely to happen. Really, whatever the models say, 8, 10, 12, 14 days from now, go the opposite because that's probably what's going to be happening. Rarely do you ever see a forecast, let's say 10 days out, that actually verifies. I think the last time I saw something like that happen, we had the Great Nor'easter of 1992, December of 92. We saw this like 10 days out, they were going for a major coastal storm, and it actually verified. That was the last time I could remember it verifying that far out. I mean, usually everything that goes that far out goes in a different direction as you get closer to it. So,
Right.
what are you going to?
Um, Tom Contino, we will end the show tonight as we no Briller Jeopardy until June 9th as Scott is on vacation. Um, Tom Contino would like an explanation, Joe. Use the word explanation. He wants you to explain why Space Weather's prediction of a G4 failed to live up to billing. Do you know what went wrong?
Yeah, nothing went wrong. The forecast was dead on. We had G4 storm conditions that hit the Earth from that major solar flare late last week, and that arrived just before daybreak on Sunday morning. It shot up to a K index of something like 8 on a scale of 9. That was a G4, and ever since then it has been flirting with G3 conditions. It was G3 or close to G3 yesterday. It was even close to G3 early today. Now it has fallen back to what I would consider regular levels, planetary K index of 3 or 4 at best. So the forecast was right on target. I don't know where unless he's looking at, sometimes, not sometimes, but with these predictions, you got to be very careful. The forecasts are based on Zulu or Universal or Greenwich time. So if you see on day one the forecast of, let's say, a G4 storm, it may have already been happening because they're going with 0 hours or 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But that may be, not for Greenwich, but it may be for us. Uh, it may be the previous day. But there was no problem. It was a very very good forecast, and all we can do is hope for another major solar flare that would give us a crack at another round of northern lights. It's been a very active solar cycle, Joe. A
Yeah.
lot of people are forecasting that because of the fact that we had the lack of any solar activity the last 3 solar cycles, that it was going to continue to go down, and we were heading for global cooling by the 2030s. Well, that went right out the window because this particular solar cycle has probably been the most active in the last 30 or 40 years. So, you never know what the sun is going to do at any given moment in time, and it's certainly doing it this particular cycle with. I mean, we had 2 major solar storms that brought aurora here last year in May and October. This one, unfortunately, it came a little bit late in the ball game, too close to daylight, and so we missed out mostly on that. But uh, still lots of time left for more major flare-ups between now and let's say the next 12 to 18 months.
David Scott asks, to what extent is NWS using AI models in 2025? ChatGPT, et cetera, is being used in many businesses now. Honestly, David, I don't know. When I talk to Bill Goodman, I'll ask him. My guess is they're probably not using much of it, but if at all. But I could be wrong. But I will ask him that question and see what we come up with. Okay. I can tell you that at least from my standpoint, I do not use it. Uh, I haven't used it uh, for weather stuff, and very rarely have I used it for search things. Because usually, if I'm searching for something, it's something really easy. So it's not a huge deal. Uh, I'm probably going to eventually spend more time on ChatGPT or Grok or any one of those Perplexity, which I understand is very good. But I haven't taken the dive yet. I wouldn't even ask Joe Rayo about it because I already know what the answer is. So there's that.
Now, you mentioned before we were talking about hurricanes.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, this next comment is going to be looked upon as a political comment, but I don't think so.
Every time you do something like this, I always check our subscription number, and we've been dancing around 15,000 since February. So every time we go up above 15,000 and you say something, it drops down below 15,000. So don't say anything that's going to take us down subscription subscribers.
Well, I did a double take because I saw this on several different um, news gathering agencies, on Reuters, the New York Times, Forbes magazine, or whatever. So it must be true. But from what I hear, from what I've read in all these reports, the acting head of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, David Richardson, told staffers that he was unaware that the U.S. had a
Oh,
hurricane
yeah.
season.
You know
Now,
what,
this is
Joe?
the guy who's in charge. This
I
is the
don't
guy who's in charge
believe
of
half
FEMA.
the. I have become really skeptical of anything that I read on from various media. I've really gotten to a place where I can't trust these people to tell the truth anymore. So I question everything. I just question everything. It's really sad that
According,
we've gotten to that place, but
according
you
to
know,
Reuters, according to
that
Reuters,
they make up stuff all the time.
really, they
Or they
do.
take something and they take it out of context.
But why
I
would they make
honestly,
something like this up?
what's that?
Why would they make something like this up?
I don't know. You ask them. I mean, I
I mean,
don't know.
initially, when this guy Richardson made the comment, the people, the few staffers that are left at FEMA, because a lot of them were forced to leave because of the cuts in staff or whatever. But the few people who were remaining looked at each other and thought that he was joking when he said that.
All right.
Or was he joking, or was he
Okay.
actually? You
So
know,
so now he knows it's hurricane season. Next. I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I don't lose sleep over this stuff anymore. It's too stressful. And Bobby Livingsworth, I got news for you. Kids are graduating high school and they're not able to read and write. Okay?
oh, sure. I mean,
They
I
don't
don't
even
understand
know how to
why they're not
sign their
teaching.
people don't even know how to sign their names.
I was just going to say, why do people are not even learning how to do cursive anymore?
Who
Cursive
was I,
thing,
I was
and I
talking to some I was talking to somebody about this just the other day where they taught their kids they were teaching cursive here, I think they were teaching cursive in kindergarten and in first grade just so that kids are able to sign their names because nobody writes anymore. Everything's on a keyboard. So at least somebody's doing it. But I can tell you, I know from you know people that I know that are in various businesses that require legal signatures, and you get kids that that have to sign things. And when I say kids, I'm talking about kids in their 20s, okay, where they don't know how to sign their name. They have to make it like an X, which is really, I mean, I know that the nuns that taught me in grammar school, Joe, are rolling over in their graves right now over the fact. I mean, for God's sake, penmanship in Catholic school was such a big deal, such a big deal. But that's their world now. We're just sort of hanging on for what's left of our own ride.
I mean, I went to the same Catholic school, grammar school that you went to, Holy Rosary on East 116th or
And
East
Mrs. And
120th Street.
last we checked, Mrs. Quinn is still dead.
Yeah, and but when I was in the second grade or the third grade, we were given these composition books, but they were different from the kind that you would normally see. They had the lines in it, but they also had dotted lines in
Yeah, the
between,
dotted lines because that's where the little letters, the
and
small letters.
you were not allowed to have your lowercase letters when you were writing in script to go above the dotted line. And I'm telling you, I mean, Sister Ursula, for example, I mean, she would look at those notebooks, and if you went above, she got the whacker out. You know, here, put your hand out. You know, and just like George Carlin in his Grammy-winning record Class Clown, you know, on the night when they had parent teachers night, he's falling behind in penmanship, Mrs. Carlin. I don't know why. And he said, "Well, he's crippled. He has to learn to write now with his left hand." But it's true. It's true. That's how we. That's what I'm talking about. The early and mid '60s. That's how we had to
I have
learn.
said I continue, I'm in my mid 60s, you're in your upper 60s. I'm sorry. The world would be a far better place if it were run by very old nuns. It just would be. You know, it really would be. You wouldn't have people on their cell phones in places where, they're annoying other people. If they were on a bus and somebody was on a bus using their cell phone having a phone conversation, these nuns would be walking up and down the aisle and taking these people's cell phones away and not giving them back until they got off. I mean, that's just how they operate. Oh God. Anyway, I think
It's
at this stage of the game, it's time for us to say ta-ta.
ta ta, everybody. And if you want tomorrow night, along with the weather, I'll give you a Broadway review. My wife and I are going tomorrow to see George Clooney in the big hit, Broadway hit, Good Night and Good Luck. And I'll give you the review tomorrow night. And if you want to see the play, you won't have to spend all the money that my kids spent to buy the tickets for my wife and I. I believe it's going to be presented live on HBO this coming Saturday night at 7 o'clock. But I'm not going to see the show tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Number one, if I did, I'd miss Joe and Joe doing Joe and Joe tomorrow night. So I'm seeing it tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Oh no! Oh no! No!
It's the
These tickets are
matinee.
for
These
the
tickets are for the
matinee.
matinee. What was the name of the What was the name of the play?
The happiest fellow.
The Most Happy Fellow by Frank
Most
Lesser.
happy fellow.
Yes. Yes. And
And there
that's
must have
why
been some
Fred
kind of.
Nerd said this part that the play isn't about somebody who's married.
It had to be some kind of cross promotion because they really heavily promoted that play.
Yeah.
They not only promoted it, they even had a part of the hit music, standing on the corner watching all the girls go by. Uh, so that I suspect when it was first run back in the mid '50s, '55 or '56, there must have been some kind of a cross promotion between the TV show and the play, because they really did a lot to promote
And
the play.
What was the name of the play that they went to for Ethel's birthday?
That I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember
Remember
that.
Lucy and Ethel were fighting because she bought those hostess pants?
Was that? Oh, yeah, but was that when they were trying to sing "Friendship"?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no. No, it was Ethel's birthday.
Ethel's birthday.
Right.
I
And,
remember.
and
I
they
remember
called
Ethel making the comment to Lucy. Lucy was the one who bought her the hostess pants. It said,
right,
"I'm just wondering how they put that in a box of
the
Cracker
Cracker
Jack." Is that?
Jack.
Yeah,
Yeah. But what was the name of the play that
I don't
that
remember.
Ricky had gotten tickets for Ethel's birthday? They got tickets for a play, and they went to the play, and they were still, not talking to each other. The name of the play was Over the Teacups.
And was there really a play called Over the
I
Teacup?
don't know. I don't. I'm not. I don't think so. I never researched that. But you know what? Right after we say goodbye, I am going to go on ChatGPT and find out. Okay.
And the, the,
So
mo- the most happy the most happy fellow, the usher or the theater person in that particular episode, that was Joseph
Joseph
Kearns,
Kearns, yes,
and he later would go on to play Mr. Wilson in Dennis the Menace.
yeah, and died.
And he died. Yes,
He
he died.
died mid. He
The
died
TV series.
mid-season.
Yeah,
Exactly. All
Joseph
right.
Kearns. I didn't realize he was a big radio. If you're into old time radio, he was a big radio actor who made the transition to television. But unfortunately, and how old was Joseph Kearns when he died, Joe?
Wasn't that old? I think he was in his late 50s.
55.
Yeah.
Oh, Nichols.
Double nickels.
Good night, Joe.
Good night, Joe. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.